Thank you for checking out another video from Mason Woodshop. I'm here today to talk about Kreg Pocket-Hole Joinery. I've been using this for a lot of my simple cabinets that I've been making in the workshop and basement. And today, I'm not going to be talking about this K5 Master System that I've come to enjoy over the last couple of years. I will instead be talking about the new 720 Pro that was just released last week. It is meant to be a replacement for both the K4 and K5 systems from Kreg Tools. And some are absolutely loving it and some have a number of complaints about it. So let's take a look. So before we open up the 720 Pro and take a quick look at what's inside, let's first of all just take a quick look at the Kreg K5 Master. So this is basically a Master Plus system where it came with this hard case, came with this little circular guide to figure out what size screws you should use, and a few other accessories not included with the regular Master system. So let's first of all pull out the primary unit. We've got the extension wings and storage. The Master system does come with a clamp. It's got some usual driver bits, drill bit, a little system in order to hold the smaller hole jig, and a few other things that came with the Master system overall. So let's just throw this to the side and take a look at this unit. So the K5 is made of pretty highly made molded plastic. The majority of this unit itself is really quite durable. You do see some metal in the clamping mechanism, but overall this plastic is very strong. The most fragile part on here is this dust collection port. I've had a couple of these break on me. I think this one that's in here right now has one of the 3 tabs broken. So I'm very excited for some hopefully upgraded dust collection mechanisms on the 720 Pro. This does work really well from a dust collection standpoint. It's just very fragile. We're able to use some adjustments here in order to set the drill depth. Clamping mechanism is very strong. Definitely a bit of an improvement over the K4, which I did try a few times. And it does come with these little extension wings. So if you have larger boards, you can have them across here. If you have really long boards, you can just set it off to the side even further. And there is storage inside as well. So these are made of more fragile plastic. So the primary unit is very strong, very well built, even though it's primarily molded plastic. This piece and these 2 wings are much more fragile plastic. But generally, the build quality of the K5 is pretty strong. It is made in the USA, unlike the 720 Pro. And that is one of the more common complaints right now, not necessarily based on the feel of it, but the fact that Kreg has shifted production of certain products to China, whereas they used to be a primarily made in USA brand. So let's leave the K5 out while we take a look at the 720 Pro. The K5 Master does come with the clamp, whereas the 720 Pro, I don't believe comes with any clamp, although I wouldn't be surprised to see a 720 Pro Master or something like that down the road. So without further ado, let's jump to the 720 Pro unboxing. So let's open up this sleeve. So I purchased this unit from elitetools.ca. They're a company, I think an online-only company. They might have a physical store in Quebec, but that I've generally had pretty good success with when it comes to ordering tools, especially ones that have just been recently released. So this K5 was, I believe, officially released on the 15th of February, and I was able to get it pretty quickly. 720 Pro. Lots of fun stuff on the back. There's one feature on this one that I'm very, very, very excited for, especially as somebody that uses pocket holes for a lot of cabinetry with large pieces of plywood. So let's take a look in here. Okay, so we've got a nice little welcome guide. So console table, giving you some quick tips. Kreg does have a really good website, I think called Make Something, where you can get really good plans and share your photos and other things like that. I made some bedside tables and post them on there, and they've been very well received. Let's throw that to the side. We do have the manual. We'll take a look at that. I have heard that you definitely want to take a look at the manual for this new 720 series. Let's put that to the side. I think these are probably some screws. It's pretty tightly packed in here. Yep. So some screws. If you watched my shop tour video, you realize that I have a ton of Kreg pocket screws already, but these will definitely go to good use. Got a number 2 square dry bit. Robertson for us Canadians. Got, oh, dust collection. This already feels a little better. Oh, yes. So we've got a little dust collection connector, and it's nice soft rubber. Pretty, like, oh, that feels fantastic. Let's just take a quick look and see how it connects to my rigid shop vac. So it's a bit of a tight fit. Let's try the other end of the shop vac. You know what? This is probably actually, oh, that's a nice fit. Okay, so standard kind of shop vac style, rigid shop vac. Bit of work to get on, but a really, really, really nice tight fit. Nice to see this adapter included. The K5 did not come with such an adapter, and I had to get some duct tape together to make that one work really well. So really nice rubber on this piece. We then have the dust collection port, which I believe slides into the unit there. And we have the primary unit. Let's take a look at what else is in here. Got a bit of an accessory box. Let's throw that to the side. So in here, so again, this is the 720 Pro, which does come with, forget what they call them. I don't think they call them the extension wings. But it does come with essentially what the extension wings were on the K5. Much bigger, so much beefier than the K5 ones, like almost twice the size, a little short, or a little, yeah, less wide, but that feels really nice compared to these old, more fragile ones. So let's take these out of their bags. Get rid of that. Okay, this one's empty. This one is full. Let's just compare this empty one. So the plastic's okay. Nothing to write home about, but you know what? Compared to this plastic on the K5 extension wings, it feels just as good, if not slightly better. So this actually feels a little better than this. Again, look at the size difference. And I know it does attach in a different way with hinges, which I have heard some complaints about. So this one's empty. Let's take a look at what's inside this one. Okay, so in here we've got a few things. Yeah, so this is an interesting one and a bit of a controversial one. So it does come with this screw clamp, which I believe is meant to secure the unit. See, still unscrewing. It's meant to secure the unit to your table, which is nice. I definitely like this. I like being able to secure it. I know a lot of people have taken the K5, mounted it to a piece of plywood that they can easily clamp down on their table. I haven't wanted to do that. It would be a pain to store. So this is nice. I think where a lot of the complaints are probably quite well founded is that Kreg is a master when it comes to these automatics. I think that's the brand or the name that they have associated with them, but these automatics clamps where they adjust essentially to like any thickness of material that you have. So it would have been nice to see them have a bit of a sleeve and provide a clamp in order to do that, rather than a relatively simple, although this is like really nice build quality on this. On a couple of the videos I watched, it definitely looked a bit smaller than this and did not look to be fully metal. So this is all metal with just the handle and this little rubberized part not being metal. So pretty nice quality on that. Definitely a little bit of a surprise. The K5 itself, and the K4 was a little different because I think it did have a clamping spot. The K5 did not. So I don't think that the complaint regarding this is quite as founded as, at least for me, as the way that some people have been discussing it. Am I going to use this? Probably not if it stores like that, knowing that my workbench needs it at about this length, and I don't want to have to do this every single time. I want to store it away. So yeah, I would have expected a little bit more from Kreg, either on the innovation side with a bit of a new clamping mechanism, or to take advantage of their automatics clamping system that they have already mastered. So also in here, so we've got yeah, a little nut to be put on somewhere. We'll see where that goes. Got a few other little accessories in here. Got a couple of these mechanisms, which I believe are to attach these wings to the jig itself. And then these wings supposedly fold up and out of the way. I don't think I'm going to do that for a few reasons. One is having these on both sides. It's going to make it a little too big in order for me to fit in my drawer, whereas this on its side will fit in my drawer quite nicely. Then these can just be stacked beside it. The other thing is that I'm generally working with plywood, and not often very thin pieces of plywood. So for me, being able to position these kind of at any length, and just to give you an example, if I'm working with this sheet of ply, I can have these wings out further than just in the middle. So I don't believe that I am going to permanently, well, I mean, not necessarily permanently, but I'm not going to attach these. These are also plastic hinges, and Kreg loves plastic hinges. I haven't had any of their plastic hinges fail on me before, so I don't know why they would now. But it's unlikely that I'm going to use that, so that I can easily just kind of spread these around and yeah, and stack them and store them even easier. So let's take a look at what's in here. So a couple more accessories. We've got Robertson bit. So we've got the short one and the long one. So nice to see that. I've got dozens of these around, so I'm not too worried if I lose them. In here we would have the Kreg drill bit. Okay, and got this stop collar on there. So one of the differences with this bit versus the old one, just let me get that out, is that the old one doesn't have these measurements on it. So I'm not sure if you can see those on the video, but we've got 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1.5 inch. We have those markings there, which I believe match up with the stop collar that goes on there, which has a bit of a window. Yeah, has a bit of a window in order for you to set the depth. Also, this little tool is so much nicer than the simple Allen key that came with the K5. Not only is it a little grippier and a little less likely to lose, although you probably have 1/8 inch, I think this is probably 1/8 inch Allen keys all over the place if you're a woodworker. But it does have settings in here for lengths, which can be super handy. And if we just loosen this setting nut and we put this in here, yeah, so we can just position it right over one of these settings and then lock it down. So we don't have to deal with, in the K5 jig, you'd put it in and you'd have a bit of a stopper down here. You try to set it, and it wasn't difficult by any means, but this is much easier to just basically set it on the bit itself and you're good to go. So bit itself seems to be identical to the old one, but the way that you can set the depth is definitely a little nicer. So very happy to see that. Also happy to see this. And then we get to the unit itself. Okay, let's just take a quick look. So as far as the plastic itself, let's take these out of the way. It's pretty close to the hard, nice plastic on the K5. Not quite the same. Yeah, I would definitely say that's not quite the same quality. Yeah, even if you look underneath, not sure how that's focusing, but you can see it's a little narrower. Not too much. So I know that there have been some complaints about just the general feel, not necessarily how it reacts from a production standpoint, because the primary moving pieces are metal, all metal, nice spring in there. But the plastic itself, it's not as delicate as the ones on the extension wings from either or the dust collection port on the K5, but it's not quite up to the more rigid plastic on the USA made K5. So the 720 Pro made in China. I know another few people on YouTube have confirmed with Kreg that they are made in China, but 60% of Kreg products are still made in the USA. So are they saving some money? Probably. The plastic is still pretty good. Definitely not something I'm concerned at right now. The motion on this is so nice. So one of the things with the K5, when you want to set the depth, you push this in, you'd slide this, you'd get it close, put your piece in, and then you'd have to adjust it, and then you'd clamp down. And it generally worked really well, like not too many complaints, but sometimes it was just a pain to always be sliding this. Whereas this new system, you don't have to set, you don't have to worry about the depth. You also don't have to worry about setting the depth that you want to drill on here, the depth of, or the thickness of your material. That's all done automatically through this. So like it recognizes my hand there. And yeah, this is really, really nice. The motion is nice. For anybody that's used the Kreg Foreman before, which is their powered jig, kind of drill and jig all in one, not cheap. This motion reminds me of that, just without the powered drill in it. So I'm very, very fond of that. Nice quality material here. If we want to take a look at the dust collection. So this slides in. Oh, then that goes on there. We already saw how that fits. So I'm very happy with this dust collection. This is much more better than the very fragile piece here, and then the duct tape connector that I had for my shop vac. So yeah, kind of neat little gadget. Yeah, so I'll test this out in a video in the future, but for now, really a big fan of this. Let's put a piece of plywood in and just see how this goes. So I do need to tighten this up a bit, which I had heard from some other people. You just want to initially dial in that setting, but yeah, otherwise that's pretty handy. And if we wanted to put in a thicker piece of wood, let's put in a 2x4. There. That's nice. So I just went from 3/4 inch plywood to 1.5 inch 2x4 and didn't have to change any settings or anything for the depth. So very happy with that. Yeah. Also, the pad at the back. So if you look at this jig, the K5, you've got this tiny little pad, just a couple inches by a couple inches, whereas here you have this whole big surface. I have noticed on a number of cabinets that I've made that this face actually became not marring to the point where it would impact the finished product, but marring to the point where, like, hey, there's some marks on there. Whereas this, much bigger, so it's going to be much more even pressure. And yeah, really, really impressed with this. Like you can see the jig size. And so the feature I'm most looking forward to with the 720 Pro is the ability to do this. And for a few reasons. One is I am often using pocket holes for cabinetry, like the cabinets that I have in the shop here. And for me, using this jig, when you have a 8-foot tall piece of plywood in it, doesn't make sense. So for me, I would always use one of the portable Kreg jigs, which wasn't ideal, didn't give me the same results that I got used to with the K5, and really why I bought the K5, but it's what I had to do in order to get nice pocket holes on large pieces of lumber. Whereas this system allows you to tilt it on its side. I'm really hoping that this height is the same, but I can essentially do this. Let's just take a look. And rather than having this piece, rather than having this piece standing vertically, I can do it exactly like this. This is the reason why I bought the 720 Pro. This exact use case, using larger sheets of wood. This one here is only 1 foot by about 3 feet, so it's not huge. But this is the main reason why I bought this jig. And I am so excited that these extension wings work this way. You can essentially put an entire sheet of plywood down and make your pocket holes in that using the jig and not using one of the portable Kreg tools. So absolutely love that. That was really the main thing that I was hoping, was that these were the exact height. Not surprised that it is. And yeah, so this is meant to be kind of the unboxing and first look at the Kreg 720 Pro, and I am very excited to put this to use. I am working on a cabinetry project for the kitchen that will be using some pocket holes, so I'll be putting this through its paces. And I also plan on doing a bit of a comparison just to show some of the differences in uses with the K5. The Kreg did discontinue the K5 and K4 at the same time to focus on the 720 Pro, the 520. I'm sure they have a couple of other smaller ones coming soon. But if you want the K5, and there are still so many good use cases for the K5, great build quality, a lot of people love it. Not quite as dynamic as the 720 Pro, but there's definitely going to be a big used market for these, so definitely scoop one up if you can. I know that I will be selling mine in the near future, but yeah, I'm very excited for this. I do wish that it came with a clamp. I do wish that the screw clamp was a little different. I wish the build materials were a little better for the jig itself. I am happy with these little extension wings and the accessories that come with it. So overall, I'm a happy camper. Looking forward to testing this, and see everybody on the next video. Thank you.